Now, please enjoy the large-scale Matryoshka doll scene. 3 little yellow beans accepted a cell as their leader, but the leader was eaten by a microorganism. The yellow beans then accepted the microorganism as their leader, but the leader was eaten by an octopus before they could recognize the octopus as their leader. It was eaten by a crocodile. They accepted the crocodile as their leader, only to see it get eaten by a big fish. Then, the big fish was eaten by an amphibian. They quickly accepted the amphibian as their leader, but as soon as they reached the shore, the amphibian was eaten by a dinosaur. Seeing how powerful the dinosaur was, they accepted it as their leader. Unexpectedly, 2 of the yellow beans fought over a banana, accidentally causing a large rock to roll towards their unlucky leader. The leader, who seemed to have practiced Chinese Kung Fu, stepped on the rock and rolled to the edge of a cliff. He stopped just in time, standing there in a daze. The yellow beans hurried to save their leader, but ended up rolling down the slope. They tumbled and crawled to their leader's side. But when they looked up, their leader's hair tuft touched the rock. Before the leader could speak, he fell into the lava. These yellow beans were truly the leader's nightmare. Time moved to the Stone Age. The yellow beans accepted a caveman as their leader, preparing to conquer the world with him. Unexpectedly, a bear appeared on the road, blocking their way. The leader picked up a club, but the yellow beans behind him pulled out a fly swatter. They said that only by using this could the leader show his might and power. The naive leader believed them and started swatting at the bear's face. As a result, the angry grizzly bear ate the leader. After some time, they accepted the pharaoh of Egypt as their leader. Unexpectedly, they hauled the pyramid's construction plans upside down, leading to the pharaoh's demise. Time passed to the Middle Ages, and they accepted a vampire as their leader. They welcomed the first rays of morning sunlight to celebrate their leader's 357th birthday. But the celebration turned into a funeral, and the leader instantly turned to dust. Later, the yellow beans accepted Napoleon as their leader, but he was blown away by a cannon. After going through so many leaders, the yellow beans became exhausted. They found a cave and established their own civilization. However, the days without a leader made the yellow beans feel very lonely. At the brink of their race's survival, 3 yellow beans took up the mantle. Kevin, along with Stuart and Bob, set out to find a new leader. The trio crossed mountains and valleys, enduring hardships, and finally arrived in New York City in 1968. Here, they borrowed 3 pairs of stylish overalls and sneaked into a close mall. They learned from the TV that the villain con was about to begin. They saw the infamous villainess Scarlet, who seemed like the perfect candidate for their leader. So, they hitched a ride by the roadside, which happened to be the car of a villain family. And just like that, they arrived at Villain Con. The villainess held a red gemstone and declared that whoever could snatch it from her would become her henchman. The villains rushed onto the stage in a frenzy, but by a twist of fate, the gemstone ended up being swallowed by one of the minions. And just like that, they gained a new leader and informed their tribe, who were far away. At that moment, the minions were celebrating enthusiastically, but they accidentally cracked the ice, causing their 666th leader to perish on the spot. So, the minions decided to immediately seek out the new leader that Kevin had found. Kevin and his friends arrived at the new leader's base on a lightning-fast spaceship. The new leader handed them 3 high-tech weapons and sent them on a mission to steal the Queen of England's crown. These weapons were quite formidable: a mechanical arm that could stretch and retract freely, a lava gun filled with molten lava, and the most powerful Avala hat that could hypnotize anyone. Armed with these gadgets, the minions successfully infiltrated the Queen's palace, but were accidentally spotted by the guards. The minions quickly activated the hypnotizing hat, putting the guards into a dancing frenzy, and then used the lava gun to blast open the door. Finally, the minions found the Queen's crown, but just as they did, the crown began to descend, so they quickly jumped after it. Just as they were about to grab the crown, a guard snatched it away. It turned out the Queen was heading out, so the minions hurried to follow. The mechanical arm came in handy as they hijacked the Queen's carriage, but they still couldn't secure the crown, and ended up being chased by the guards. Cornered with nowhere to run, the minions stumbled upon a sword. They casually pulled it out, only to realize it was the legendary Excalibur, the sword in the stone, making the one who pulls it the next king. And so, the minions moved into Buckingham Palace, becoming the shortest kings in history. They played hide-and-seek in the opulent palace, bathed in the luxurious pool when tired, and even treated to fire hydrants as their consorts. Upon hearing this, the villainess was furious and prepared to confront the minions in her spaceship. She kicked open the door, ready to punish the minions. However, the naive minions willingly handed over the crown and even passed the throne to her to show their loyalty. But instead, the villainess threw the minions into the dungeon and prepared various tortures for them. Now, how will they escape from this dire situation? This is the most brutal execution scene I've ever seen. Next, they switched to hanging, but the minions had no necks, so the noose had no effect on them. In the end, the minions turned the jail cell into a playground and happily played around. Realizing they couldn't deal with the minions, the villains decided to leave them in the cell forever. The minions didn't give up. They crawled into the jail sewer, found a basket of flowers, and prepared to apologize to the leader. The three brothers quickly found the coronation ceremony venue, but were turned away by two burly men. They had no choice but to climb over the wall and reach the top of the castle. Unexpectedly, the two brothers were terrified by a small bee and jumped onto the chandelier. As they ran around on the chandelier, it became loose and eventually fell towards the leader. Just when everyone thought the villainess was doomed, she flew up wearing a high-tech dress. Seeing the minions, the villainess became furious. She ordered all the villains to hunt down the three brothers, forcing the minions to flee for their lives. In such a dire situation, even a moment's delay could result in immediate execution. Amidst the villains' pursuit, Kevin and his brothers got separated, and only Kevin managed to escape. To rescue his good friends, Kevin returned to the laboratory in search of weapons. Just as he was feeling triumphant, the villains began desperately smashing the door. Terrified, Kevin hid inside a small ball in the lab, accidentally activating the ultimate weapon. An electrical current surged through him, instantly transforming him into a giant minion. The villains fled in panic, while the villainess prepared to send the minions to hell with explosives. Fortunately, the timely arrival of Kevin extinguished the fuse. Seeing her plan fail once more, the villainess turned her dress into a rocket and flew into the sky. She mounted a lava cannon and pursued Kevin with attacks. Kevin couldn't evade in time and crashed heavily to the ground. At that moment, the minion army arrived. Seeing them, the villainess grew even angrier. She fired a lava cannon, cutting off their escape route. She then launched a missile, intending to kill all the minions. To save his friends, Kevin swallowed the missile in one gulp. He then grabbed hold of the villainous rocket and flew into the sky with her. With a violent explosion, all the minions thought Kevin was certainly dead, but he survived unharmed, holding on to a large pair of overalls. Their heroic actions earned them the Queen's commendation. Unexpectedly, the Queen's crown was stolen once again by the villainess. However, as they were escaping, they were frozen into ice blocks by robbers, who also stole the crown. The minions saw the smart and brave robbers and immediately accepted them as their new leaders, happily following them. But whether this new leader can avoid the minions' disastrous fate remains to be seen.